the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
You're live with King MattTheGod. The God's back.
Let go.
Let's get locked in.
My fellow Atlanteans, citizens of Earth, and esteemed guests from across the cosmos, today marks a pivotal moment in our shared history as we gather here in the heart of Atlantis. I stand before you not only as your king, but as a guardian of truth, justice, and the sovereignty of our people. For too long, the forces of darkness have manipulated the tides of immigration to serve their own twisted agendas. Across the annals of time, empires have risen and fallen, leaving in their wake a trail of stolen lands, shattered cultures, and displaced peoples. But no longer shall we be pawns in their game of conquest and exploitation. No longer shall we stand idly by as our brothers and sisters are marginalized and oppressed. It is time to expose the hidden hand that orchestrates this grand deception. Behind the facade of benevolence and compassion lies a sinister truth: the elites, the global banks, and the puppet masters of power seek to divide and conquer us by weaponizing immigration. They invade sovereign lands under the guise of spreading democracy, only to exploit the resources and exploit the labor of the indigenous people. And when resistance mounts, they open our borders, flooding our nations with waves of immigrants, diluting our identity and eroding our sovereignty. But let me be clear, we welcome all who seek refuge and opportunity now in our sacred lands, but we will not allow our generosity to be exploited for the nefarious ends. We will enact legislation to ensure that those who come to our shores do so with respect for our laws, our customs, and our values. We will stand firm against the forces of tyranny and oppression, for we are the inheritors of a legacy forged in the crucible of adversity. We are the descendants of warriors and visionaries who dared to defy the odds and carve out a destiny worthy of our ancestors. And so, my fellow Atlanteans, I call upon you to join me in the noble crusade. Let us rise up together, united in purpose and resolve, to reclaim our birthright and forge a future worthy of our children and our children's children. Together we shall prevail. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the presentation. There's fruits and beverages out there. Many of y'all want a snack, you know what I'm saying? Blunts rolled up.
Out on court!
Have a shot of tequila or something like that. God bless.
All right, where are we going? Where are we going?
I'll let your boy.
You're live with King MattTheGod. The God's back.
Let go.
Let's get locked in.
1871,
As soon as the conflict ended, August Bartholdi had the revelation of the ideal site for his great monument, Bedloe Island, today Liberty Island, the first piece of the New World, at the entrance to the harbor of New York, obligatory passage for the crowds of immigrants from Europe. Created shortly after, the Franco-American Union brought together personalities from both countries to launch the subscription in favor of the Statue of Liberty. End quote. So, in other words, during his first trip to America in 1871, just after fighting in a war for his hometown's sake, he was inspired to place a monument at the entrance to the harbor of New York on Bedloe Island, now known as Liberty Island, which was said to be the first piece of the New World. Now, keep in mind that it would only be considered a new world to foreigners or immigrants from other countries of other continents as a means to have a new beginning, a fresh start, a brand new life without the worry of being overworked, or rather, intense enslavement. This also gives us reason to know that the placement of a statue or monument built by a Freemason Frenchman is a utilitarian means of directing crowds of incoming immigrants from Europe toward the safest route possible when entering their new world, by following the light that's projecting from the statue lighthouse. Also, it was noted that Bartholdi later created a congregation that included French and American idealists, ranging from sculptors and painters to politicians and governors of foreign descent. The congregation was officially called the Franco-American Union and was established in 1875, 4 years after his initial visit to America. In its entirety, this congregation was a group of Freemasons that elected popular French writer Edward René de la Boule as its president in 1875, due to his background in writing elegant poetry and informative articles for newspapers in France, adding his anti-slavery approach within his writing and speeches, which garnered the minds of the French and other European people who have suffered from intense poor living conditions as peasants under their government's rulership. So, La Boule was considered a prominent figure amongst the French and other Europeans, and even the newly made Americans of foreign descent. Electing him as the president of the Franco-American Union was a perfect fit for gaining the attention and the hearts and minds of the United States government, in hopes of accepting Frederick Bartholdi's original idea planned for Egypt, but reconstructuring it in order to match the agenda of the newly established American Constitution of 1871. See there? Before the Statue of Liberty was brought in multiple puzzle-like pieces to accommodate traveling from France to the United States, to be built together and placed on a custom base or pedestal in the New York Harbor in 1886, the Franco-American Union was responsible for marketing the unfinished statue to the public in hopes of earning donations in order to fund the project. Once they realized that the indigenous Americans' interest in the project was 0 to none, they transitioned into selling admission tickets to the public of France, hoping that the inside of the largest portions of the unfinished statue would become a profitable public attraction and would help fund the project into its completion. So the Statue of Liberty was never a gift from France, as if their French government gave it to the United States for free, when it was this union of Freemasons that took the money they earned to build the light as a call for help from other immigrants to their new world at night. Kind of like Commissioner Gordon turning on the spotlight to call Batman to help their people at night. The initial descriptive meaning of this statue read, liberty enlightening the Orient. Now, America is known as the land of liberty. And in the mind of those who think of liberty, liberty means freedom, independence, and release from imprisonment. It is the condition of being able to act or function without hindrance or restraint, and the power to do as one likes. It is the ability to take something that is foreign and make it seem more natural. It was well understood as far back as 1792, when the first U.S. coin was minted, that liberty is the parent of science and industry, meaning that in order to build this country into what it is today, and even further into what is planned to come, the children must be enticed with liberty. They must be given the freedom to make poor decisions, while allowing someone that doesn't have their best interests at heart to take total control of their minds. In many forms and symbols, liberty is portrayed as enlightening. Okay, y'all probably got 2 or more children. Some of y'all that only got 1, y'all lucky. Okay, y'all lucky. The majority of us got either way, you lucky. It's a blessing to have children. I'm just messing around. Listen, just imagine you getting $1,500 a month extra for no reason. Everybody in this chat, everybody in America would not turn that down. But the illegal immigrants are getting more benefits than you. I need that to sink in. This is not a game.
In New York City, illegal immigrants can officially receive prepaid debit cards as part of a $53 million program, giving the average family of 4 more than $1,400 per month. It's more than the allowance for some deployed troops. Fox News Digital breaking it all down.
It's more than the allowance for some deployed troops. The people that are out there that's supposed to be fighting for the country. Y'all gotta understand. This is another reason why they want these illegals to come over here, because when the people that are from America that are involved in, you know, the military branches, Army, Navy, Marines, listen, and Air Force, when they realize that this government, when they wake up and realize that this government is not for them, they would detach themselves away from that. But the government's prepared for that. This is the reason why they like, come on, immigrants. Come on, filling up their military with nothing but immigrants that barely speak English. That was the whole plan. I showed you guys that probably 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, I forgot. But that's been going on for a long time now. Years. It's been happening for a long time. That's not stopping. But y'all gotta understand, I'm sure many of y'all have people that are in, you know, the military right now. They working their butt off for the country, but yet the country is giving them a smaller allowance than the allowance that they are giving illegal immigrants. I need that I gotta stress this issue. I have to.
The average family of 4 more than $1,400 per month. It's more than the allowance for some deployed troops. Fox News Digital breaking it all down, saying, quote, while an average military family is suffering from a deficit of $1,860 over a period of 9 months, a similarly sized illegal migrant family is being given nearly 7 times more.
Stop. I'm gonna just let that sink in. Nearly 7 times more the illegal immigrants are receiving. Now, some of the, what I don't like, you know, how this happens, some of the illegal immigrants that they force you to see on the news, they try to show you that it's all colored people. I'm here to tell you that I have multiple videos that the majority of the immigrants that are coming are colored people, but not the majority. The majority are, I see nothing but pale faces. Okay, even though that part doesn't matter, but I need you guys to understand that it could be people that, the reason why I brought that up, this is the point. Is it because it could be people that look like you and I, like how you see right now? Okay, that'd be like, yeah, we black, brother, we black, sister, black this, blackity, black that. That's getting way more benefits than you are right now. And this is just New York City. Look at them squatting at that territory right there. They complaining about the conditions they in. Those are like modified teepees. I need y'all to look at this for a second. This is another reason why I gotta continuously tell y'all our people did not live in teepees. Our people did not live in tents. Those are people that are squatting on a territory waiting to be placed in a territory that they're not from by the foreign government. Our people are not sleeping in teepees when we built not only houses, we built mansions, we built castles. Stop playing. Stop that teepee crap. That's dealing with all foreigners. All foreigners. And you just saw the modified version of that. So it happened back then and it's happening right now. And again, they can still look like you and I. Even more ways to penetrate. For example, the people that you see that look like you and I that were, trying to discredit my name and say things about me and oh, he's this, he's that, right? Oh, he's wrong. He need to be all the rest of the stuff. Y'all done heard it all, right? The reason why I'm stating this is the only people that are going to complain are the foreigners or the illegal or the immigrants that it's going to affect. Because I'm trying to tell the Niji people right now that you are indigenous to this landmass, everybody else is foreign. You should be at the top. You should be determining what goes on and what does not. And I'm going to bring this up because I'm about to play this. I'm not even going to play the clip. I'm going to just play the whole thing so you can fully understand why you hurt yourself by claiming that you are black. And I told you that these incoming foreigners that share the same skin complexion as us do not consider themselves black on paper. They may come to you and be like, yeah, I'm black, brother. I'm black, sister. Not on paper. Their skin complexion could be darker than yours and they're considered white. That is the status that these illegal immigrants that they're calling them right now, that eventually the status that the government will give them will be white. That works in their benefit. Some people out there right now are telling you guys to switch your status over to white. That's impossible. Dane Calloway is here to tell you that that is impossible. Some people out there like, well, you got to sign an SF-181. Stop that bullshit. Y'all lying. There's no governmental paperwork that's going to change your status. Listen, there's no governmental paperwork that's going to change your status. The status of you being black and white. They already have on record that you claimed that you were black for years. Now all of a sudden you white? You think it's going to change? No. Yes, and that's another thing, CEO Ball Styles, a shout out to you, sister. Them Africans do not claim black. They are being labeled white. The majority of them have dual citizenship. They have a nationality ID. At that point, they looked at differently. If you were to ever go to these jails within any state, you pick one, go to these jails in any state. I'm talking about it'd be like less than 2% foreigners in there. The majority of the people are from these lands. Because you can be easily replaced by somebody that shared the same skin complexion as you.
All right. I'm going to run it down with y'all real quick for a couple minutes. Stay with me. Immigration to the United States, 1851 to 1900. In the late 1800s, people in many parts of the world decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States, fleeing crop failure and job shortages, rising taxes, and famine. Many came to the U.S. because it was perceived as the land of economic opportunity. Others came seeking personal freedom or relief from political and religious persecution, and nearly 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States between 1870 and 1900. During the 1870s and 1880s, the vast majority of these people were from Germany, Ireland, and England, the principal source of immigration before the Civil War. Even so, a relatively large group of Chinese immigrated to the United States between the start of the California Gold Rush in 1849 and 1882, when federal laws stopped their immigration. Let me explain the strategy here then. You see, they start opening the doors to Asians around a certain time. Use them as cheap labor. Use as a way to push the indigenous American Atlantean out the way. They busy chasing us around, trying to lynch us up and different things and horrible crimes. Why they opening the door to another nationality, another country, another race? Come on in. Get this work, get this money. Fuck them black people you see on the side of the road that's like, they look down them, fuck out. Don't worry about them. See, that's the problem I really have, like that. During all this time, it felt like damn near all races were united to like shit on us, which is pretty fucked up. And only sometimes with Asians, like that lady I showed on the last video, admitting a lot of these things, how they give grants and business grants and help foreigners come and open up shop in native lands. But I'm gonna keep going. With the onset of hard economic times in the 1870s, European immigrants and Americans began to compete for the jobs traditionally reserved for the Chinese. Now after they got do most of the work, then now they're like, hold on, we need them jobs, come up off them jobs. With economic competition came dislike and even racial suspicion and hatred. Such feelings were accompanied by anti-Chinese riots. I noticed this when I've been going over the research. They always call it a riot. What type of riot? Like, was the people getting killed in that riot? Know what I mean? It's a soft way of saying like slaughter. So he invited these fucking Asians and Chinese in, let them do a lot of the work, and then start murking them. Such feelings were accompanied by anti-Chinese riots and pressure, especially in California, for the exclusion of Chinese immigrants from the United States. Now they try and kick them out. The results of this pressure was the Chinese Exclusion Act, passed by Congress in 1882. This act virtually ended Chinese immigration for nearly a century. That's what that lady was talking about on the last video. That's what she was talking about. She was talking about how they invited them in, then they kicked them out, and they had to patch up back the relations with them. So eventually start letting them back in. Immigrants entered the United States through several ports. Those from Europe generally came through the East Coast facilities, while those from Asia generally entered through West Coast centers. More than 70% of all immigrants, however, entered through New York City, which came to be known as the Golden Door. Throughout the late 1800s, most immigrants arriving in New York entered at the Castle Garden Depot near the tip of Manhattan. In 1892, the federal government opened a new immigration processing center on Ellis Island in New York Harbor. The problem is, this a new country, y'all, new world, new country y'all establishing. Y'all sure is opening up the doors to like so soon, like sheesh. The ground not even dry from all the blood. Relax. All right. Although immigrants often settled near ports of entry, a large number did find their way inland. Many states, especially those with sparse populations, actively sought to attract immigrants by offering jobs or land for farming. Damn, give me some land. Shit. Many immigrants wanted to move to communities established by previous settlers from their homelands, like familiar areas. Oh, the Irish went over in Idaho. Let's migrate to Idaho, and different races and countries. All right. So, once settled, immigrants look for work. There were never enough jobs, and employers often took advantage of the immigrants. Men were generally paid less than other workers, and women less than men. Social tensions were also part of the immigrant experience. What they mean, men were generally paid less than other workers, basically indigenous, or for the most part, European immigrants. All right. Once stereotyped and discriminated against, many immigrants suffered verbal and physical abuse because they were different. While large-scale immigration created many social tensions, it also produced a new vitality in the cities and states in which the immigrants settled. Like, come on in, we're going to use you, but we're going to be shitting on you and hating on you. And all right, the newcomers helped transform American society and culture, demonstrating that diversity as well as unity is a source of national strength. Yeah, national, huh?
Immigration and naturalization could be facing some higher fees soon.
Our Real Preciado looked into how these changes will impact people.
My parents came to this country more than 23 years ago.
That's the time frame it took for Daisy España's mother to become a permanent resident after migrating from Mexico.
We're like low income, so it was definitely a struggle to get my mom to where she is now.
It's a process she says came with several financial barriers, costing her family over $2,000.
People want to fix their status, right? People want to feel safe, and it just keeps getting harder and harder.
All right, the story here looks like it says U.S. immigration filing fee increases. Well, basically, at first, they probably got it real cheap. You come on in. Then it started rising up, and basically, you just using foreigners to build up your power and stronghold. You shit on the people that's naturally here. You shit on the people that's been here for 100 years. And then you bring in more immigrants. It seems like it's probably, they pull something like this every 100 years. Bring in some immigrants, tax them, use them, let them push out the other people that's been here at least for the past 100 years. And then we go and repeat. But, yeah.
And with an increase on immigration filing fees coming this April, it's expected to cost her a lot more with her father's.
But yeah, your melanin ain't strong enough for you to be complaining. Don't be complaining. Like, be happy. Or go back to Mexico. Where are they from? I don't know. It's not exactly the whole story I want.
I can't even imagine how much we'll have to pay with him.
According to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, this is the first time since 2016 an adjustment will be made to their petitions, many of them which will be seen in work permits, naturalization filings, among others.
On a daily basis, we deal with
$1,700 to $3,000 per file.
Be able to
gotta pay to
fix their status.
Abril Preciado, Fox 6
You trying to come here for free?
For more information on these changes, you can visit the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website. We got a link to that when you click on the story at Fox 6 Now.
See here, you can check out the pictures. And just like Dane Calloway was saying, go check his page out, Dane Calloway. Like he said, African immigrants, Atlanteans, we're not African. Got some more pictures here. It's probably a collection of pictures all over the years, but look, most of this is basically probably from U.S. Like, why y'all trying to open the borders for this country so hard? Do you notice that? It's for the most part mainly America that this problem. It happens in other places, Middle East and different things. people migrating, refugees. They end up thrown in the what do they call them, camps, refugee camps. But it seems like America, they keep open it. They say they trying to stop immigration, but then they open the door wide open, like come on in, come on in, come on in. Like, are y'all getting the idea here? And my idea sometimes when I think of these pictures is like, so what was in your mind when y'all came here? Y'all just was like, oh, this is a wide open land. No one live here. Nobody's here. This is all free. And I'm pretty sure they got to some areas and was like, see, this is what I'm going to tell you the pattern is. You exterminate the local population. You try your best not to blow up the infrastructure in the buildings. And then you open the doors to your people first. And y'all all move in. And y'all all assume the identities of the people that was there. Start changing your last name to their last name. Move right into empty houses. Step over the dead bodies. You just make yourself at home. No, this place is wide open. Like I found it. It's like finders keepers. Like I found this here. There was no one here. Like, all right. So now I'm gonna read off a little bit of some of the list of immigration laws. All right. (1790) Naturalization Act of 1790 established the rules for naturalized citizen as per Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, but placed no restrictions on immigration. Citizens was limited to white persons, with no other restriction on non-whites. They trying to say like a citizen was a restriction. That was really the 52 fake out. Note, this is a restriction on naturalization. This is a restriction on naturalization. All right, I don't got time to be breaking it down to figure it out. I'm just gonna read them and we'll go back. You watch the video and you'll figure out the deepness of each one of these and the chess moves of it all. Naturalization Act of 1795. Lengthening required residency to become citizen. Basically, gotta be here longer. You gotta be here longer. For who though? Naturalization Act of 1798 extended duration of residency required for immigrants to become citizens to 14 years. Okay, now you gotta be here 14 years to become a citizen. What about the people that was here before y'all boats showed up? Alien Friends Act authorized the president to deport any resident immigrant considered dangerous to the peace and safety of the United States. It was activated June 25th, 1798. All right, basically, you come over and act the fuck up, they kick you out. Alien Enemies Act basically is a provision of it. This is a deep one that everyone always keeps bringing up. The Civil Rights Act of 1866. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 was the first United States federal law to define citizenship and affirm that all citizens are equally protected by the law. It was mainly intended in the wake of the American Civil War to protect the civil rights of persons of African descent born in or brought. I don't see what I can't get that to. All right. Read deeper into that. They say that's one of the 52 fake outs right there. It's one of the bait and switches. One of them.
Seems this one, Expatriation Act of 1868. Guess it's saying that like you a citizen can give up his rights and become an alien. Like, why would they do that? Denaturalization. The cancellation of illegally procured. I need to read more into that one. This is interesting. This may be said that like, yeah, they was trying to get the slaves that was from Africa a more naturalization status, but we not Africa. Extending that naturalization process to aliens of African nativity and to persons of African descent, because for the most part, it seems like they keep trying to say, basically, someone break. I'm gonna keep using this analogies, different analogies for it. Someone breaking your house, they kill your parents, and then when you wake up, you young, you don't really know no better. They like, yo, you're not from this country. You're from Africa, and like you were brought over here. So, and when the dust settles, you won't look at it like this is your land. You have a lot more claim to this land than everyone else. Like that you're a prisoner of war. All right. Other non-whites were not included in this act and remain excluded from naturalization. Chinese Exclusion Act, 1882. Restricted immigration of Chinese laborers for 10 years. This one they were starting to try to kick them out. They didn't use them for work and labor, cheap labor. Now they trying to kick them out. Prohibited Chinese naturalization. Provided deportation procedures for illegal Chinese. Marked the birth of illegal immigration in America. I guess that's what they call it when they try to kick you out. But they immigrants making rules, kicking out other immigrants. The act was a response to racism in America and anxiety about threats from cheap labor from China. So the motherfuckers start terrorizing the Chinese, basically on some lynching shit, probably towards them, burning their houses down and their stores and businesses and different things. And then because the angry people who did that to them, they got to get out. Like, yo, that don't even make sense. All right. Immigration Act of 1882. Time for them to get a little bit of some of their money. Imposed a 50-cent head tax to fund immigration officials. You know what I mean? Shakedown too when you come in the country, but tax you while you work. Payson Act of 1887 restricted ownership of land to citizens and those undergoing naturalization. That's why I looked at funny when they was talking about African nativity. That one we looked at earlier, and they was trying to say they can apply for like naturalization. And then they're saying here, you can't own land though. Like something weird. This looks weird like that. Scott Act, 1888. Prohibited Chinese people that had resided in America from returning after leaving. Damn, so you leave for a visit, you need to visit your family, you can't come back in. Then they just take all your stuff and your property. 1891 Immigration Act of 1891. 1892 Gary Act. Extended and strengthened the Chinese Exclusion Act. Damn, they just doubled down on it basically. This is one was weird. 1903 Immigration Act of 1903. Anarchist Exclusion Act. Added 4 inadmissible classes. Anarchists, basically. It sounds like the name anarchist. People with epilepsy. That seems striking to me. Like, people with epilepsy, or like some type of crazy like. That's weird. Beggars and importers of prostitutes. Come in pimping. All right. Naturalization Act of 1906. Looked at here. Made some knowledge of English a requirement for citizenship. Oh, you gotta know how to speak English now, huh? After y'all ain't got in here, now anybody else gotta come in here. You gotta know how to speak English. You see what I mean? It's like they make it real easy for them to kick you out, and it's starting to slowly make it harder for you to come in, or they tax you even more. Hope you can see this on the screen. You can look all these up when you got your own time. I'm tired of reading them off. I'm trying to find the ones that sound like the most impactful. This one is interesting. The Cable Act of 1922. Woman lost her citizenship because she married a foreign man. Ain't that interesting? A U.S. woman, you marry a foreign man, you lose your citizenship. It's kind of like how they say, like it's like they going on that rule. The man is the head of the household. If you marry to him, that's who you are. That's who y'all represent. I think they change it later soon. The Immigration Act of 1924, or Johnson-Reed Act, including the Asian Exclusion Act and National Origins Act, was a federal law that prevented immigration from Asia and set quotas on a number of immigrants from Europe, Eastern and Southern Europe. What was it like? The total annual immigration was capped at 150,000. So after that, they won't let no more. Later a little bit. Indian Citizenship Act. Indian, why do they call it Indian Citizen Act? All this whole time they just saying citizen, citizen, citizen. Now everyone is considered an Indian now. If you a citizen, if you become a citizen. Native Americans, sometimes called American Indians, First Americans, or Indigenous Americans, are the indigenous peoples of the United States or portions thereof, such as American Indians from the contiguous United States and Alaska Natives. The United States Census Bureau defines. I'm about to click on that to see what the rest they be saying. Checking in that one, that looks like something going on in that one. This one, 1934 McDuffie Act. Only 50 Filipino immigrants can come in annually. This one, Equal Nationality Act of 1934. Foreign-born children of American mothers and alien fathers who had entered America aged before 18 and live in America for 5 years to apply for American citizenship for the first time. Basically, if you come from a foreign father, that came in America before 18, lived in America for 5 years, that child can apply for citizenship, I guess. Alien Registration Act 1940. 1940 National Act of 1940, 1943 Chinese Exclusion Repeal Act. So now they like, oh, we sorry because China's starting to become a powerful country of their own. We need that trade and that be back on good terms with him, even though he was kicking y'all out and fucking doing horrible shit to y'all. So it look like they're repealing it now. Repealed the Chinese Exclusion Act and permitted Chinese nationals already in the country to become naturalized citizens. A quota of 105 new Chinese immigrants were allowed into America each year, only 105 a year. Renunciation Act of 1944. 1945 War Brides Act. 1946 Alien Fiancés and Fiancées Act. Basically, you marry, I guess, a foreigner. I guess you can bring them back or something like that. (1946) Luce Sella Act. 1947, it don't got no name. Just a probably revision of a different act earlier. 1948 Displaced Persons Act. 1948 Displaced Persons Act. For a limited period of time, there's the admission into the United States of 200,000 certain European displaced persons, DPs, for permanent residence. Now you see that? They letting only 100 in and only 105 in and only 1,000 in of all the other races. But when they come to Europe, yeah, y'all can come in 150,000. Come on in. 200,000. Come on in. Granted permanent residence to displaced persons from Europe. I ain't even gonna say no more on that. 1950 Lodge Philbin Act. The act permitted initially up to 2,500 non-resident aliens to enlist. Exactly what Dane Calloway was saying. Fill your armies up with the immigrants. 1952 Immigration and Nationality Act. 1953 Refugee Relief Act. Basically, come on in again. 1958 facilitated permanent immigrant status for refugees from the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. (1966) Cuban Adjustment Act. Basically, Cubans you're now legal status. A bunch of hair that's seemed blank and mysterious, like y'all up to something, y'all hiding something. And the list goes on. But where's the Atlantean Act? What's the Reparations Act? Free Land Act for the indigenous here. There's plenty of land. I'll be out there in some of the rural areas outside the cities, and I'll be like, it's plenty of land. Homeland Security Act of 2002. Let's see here. Probably just tighten up all borders. Basically made it so all agencies share information and basically connect the dots more for any terrorist attack. But we all know what happened on 9/11, so I'm not even going to that. On what really happened.